Hi guys, welcome to today's session. So, in the last two videos, we have seen the brief introduction about machine learning and the brief introduction about data science. So, if you guys have not watched the video, please go and check it out. So, you will get the good understanding about machine learning and data science. So, today we are going to see a brief introduction about the computer vision and deep learning. We're going to see a lot of things about convolutional neural networks, what are the techniques are there, how the future is going to be like impacted with this computer vision. So everything related to images today. So welcome you all everyone again. So agenda is like we'll first see what is the present of computer vision and what could be the future, and next the building blocks of convolution neural networks and the core concepts of convolution neural networks, and then the backpropagation. So you will believe me, you will get the good understanding of what happened in case of classification or object detection. So everything we will see in this brief video of computer vision. So first, let's see. So currently, where this computer vision is impacting us. So let's assume if we take healthcare industry, we have computer vision or deep learning models to classify the CT scan images, whether it has some it represents some disease or not, or it to also to identify brain tumors, also to identify whether the bones are broken or not. And the scientists are even claiming that deep learning model or computer vision model is far better than analyzing, and it has more accuracy in detecting the tumors like coming out like from the image part. So that's the advancement we have in computer vision. And in terms of security, so as we all know, we are able to use computer vision to track the objects. We have been based on the image, we are also able to detect the objects in the image, and in case of video also we're able to track the objects in the image. Also with the help of biometrics, we can like starting from the mobiles which you are using, we are having biometrics to like which is computer vision is able to identify individuals or distinguish individuals from one another. So that's the that is based on the security part. And if you come to manufacturing, obviously the first thing is self-driving cars. Like the world is moving towards the self-driving cars, like depends on that. So also if we have the product which has any defects, we are using computer vision to identify that. And then if you move to law and order, again I said you can scan the live footage to detect the persons if it is there or not. So that is on the law and order. And there are lot of small scale companies which are using computer vision on their industry, like for analyzing the images and giving the good recommendations for the students using their learning app, like that. I'll tell you one quick example, like how could be the future of computer vision. For example, if I say in the near future, if our President Abdul Kalam, if he teaches you machine learning, how it could be? Can you imagine that? This all is possible with the help of computer vision. Not only with the help of computer vision, we have something called generative adversarial networks, which learns the which gestures of a human being and tries to mimics that. So the root is always the computer vision and deep learning. So let's get into the technical part of computer vision. What is convolutional neural networks? What does it do? So if you have the image, how a computer is identifying whether it is a dog or cat, or how it is identifying this person is there, this person is not there, how it's doing that. So the basic blocks of computer vision is like the machine has to like segregate the like common components from the image. For example, the what which you are seeing in the screen is the RGB colored image, which means each pixel has three values: one for red, one for blue, one for green. And if we separate the R channels together, it becomes an R channeled image. And if we separate green components, green pixel values together, it will become green channeled image. And if we separate blue pixel values together, it will become blue channeled image. So the concept which I'm trying to tell is, given the input image, if we filter out the same components from the image, that will become a channel. That is what. So if to add some more concepts onto it, for the same RGB colored image, if you ask the painter to do it, he might have used some 32 colors to paint the same image. So in that case, he used 32 different components to paint the same image, which means he has 32 channels. So when I was telling the same component, it is called as channels. So that is the first important concept which we need to understand in the convolutional neural networks. Channel represents the same components. In this below image which you see, we have pulao, but when you filter out the same components from the image, we will get components like onion or peas or rice or whatever. So these are the different components which we extracted from the that pulao image. So that is what called as channels. But how to do it? How to extract the same components from the image? Then we have something called as kernels, which is used to extract the same features from the image. So this is the very basic concept which you see in the convolution neural networks. From this only, the computer is extracting the similar components from the image and classifying whether it is belong to this category or that category. So I hope you understand what is channels. To extract channels, we need kernels. That is all. And then we will move to the next component. What is neural computing? So we will go in depth. So for example, I will start with one example here. So we have 26 alphabets in English. With this 26 letters, we can form the n number of words, right? And with this n number of words, we can form million of sentences. With this sentences, we can form paragraphs and then essays. So it started with the letter, and we got the essay. So that is the, in a same way, when you have the image, we have small components like edges and the gradients in the image, that we can compare it with the letters. And then when you combine those edges and gradients, we will start getting the parts of objects in the image. And then when you combine the parts of objects in the image, then it will become the objects of the image. And the computer or any deep learning model also will learn in the same way. It will start learning the edges and gradients of an image by using the kernels which extracting the components from the image. And when you start extracting continuously, you will start understanding the parts of objects in the image. And then if you convolve continuously, you will start understanding the objects of the image. So that is how any convolutional neural networks will happen. So far we have understood that the machine will start learning small components in the image. And once it learned small components, it will start learn little more big components from the image. And once it learned that big components from the image, it will start identifying the objects of the image. So this is the theoretical explanation of the computer normal convolutional neural networks. So for extracting the components, we have kernels. When we extract it, it will become channel. So I hope everyone understand what is kernel, what is filters, and how convolution neural networks is learning from an image. So I guess this is time to play. So we will just go to this link and see how it is. So if you see this link, I will try to draw some number here. So let's assume I draw 7. So we have the starting image 7 here, and that again it is divided into some 5 images, and then again into 5, then again into some 25, then small components. So this is how machines are learning. So I just want to demonstrate in a way that this is the small component of that letter 7, and then by combining those small components we got this, and then by combining those components we got this, and then we got this, and then we got this, and then we got this, and finally we got the number 7. So an image can be separated into any number of channels we want, depends on the number of filters we are using. So this is the base concept. I hope you understand. We'll again move to the slide. Okay, then we will now move into more technical part. So as I was continuously saying, we have to learn small components, but how we have to use kernels, and so the image which you are seeing in the screen will clearly explain this. For example, the blue color pixels which you are seeing, which is on the down, let's assume that is the input image. Okay, and we something which is sliding over on top of the input image, which is called the kernel. What kernel will do? It will extract the similar components from the image. That is all. So this black thing which is sliding on top of the image, it is extracting some components from that blue input image, and it is giving some output which is in green color. So let's assume we input is the image which is of size 4 cross 4, and the kernel, which means which is to extract the components, that is of size 3 cross 3, and the output result we got, which is in size 2 cross 2, because it is the matrix multiplication, that each 9 pixels from the down, it is getting multiplied with the 9 pixels on the sliding window, and we will get one number as the output. So this is the base concept. So any input image, if you take, you go with a simple classification problem or object detection problem, so there will always be a kernel. What that kernel will do, it will slide on top of the input image, and it will give you some output. Then again you will use some kernel, it will again slide on top of the input image, it will again give some output. So in this way, the deep learning expert will use or will decide uh, n number of kernels. So what you are seeing in the screen is just the one input image with one kernel and one output. For example, for the same input image, if I use 32 kernels, we will get 32 outputs. So each kernel, for example, given the let's assume we have the dog image, one kernel will extract the features of the eyes, one kernel will extract the features of the tail, one kernel will extract the features of the body. So in like this, each kernel is responsible for extracting different features from the input image, and it will generate the output. So based on the output which we got, we will again use some kernels, again convolute it. So convolute means what you are seeing is just sliding on top of the input image. That is what called as convolution. Neural networks means, since we are like using deep learning concept here, it is said to be convolutional neural networks. So I just read out what is there in the screen, so I will explain it, so we'll understand it better. Convolution is a method to identify or detect the patterns, objects, edges, backgrounds, colors, and much more in an image with the help of filters. So I guess it is understood. Filter is the one which is sliding over. Convolution is the process name. What it is doing, it is extracting some patterns or some objects or some edges or some backgrounds or some colors from the input image. So the input image is 4 cross 4. On top of that, we are sliding. That is called as the kernel. It is the matrix multiplication. So we'll get one pixel value at the output when we do one convolution. We are doing some 4 convolutions here. So we are getting 4 values as the output. So I guess this is clear. So and then so how does it learn? So how does a model learn? So when we just convolve, how how it is learning? So it's a one important concept in convolutional learning, which is called receptive field. So I will tell in one line: receptive field is the eyes of the kernel. That is all. What kernels is looking on the input image, that is called as receptive field. So I will we can see the image which is on the below. So input image is the blue color image, which is of size 5 cross 5. The kernel size, what is kernel? Which is sliding on the top of the image, that is of size 3 cross 3. So if we slide 3 cross 3 kernel with the input image 5 cross 5, the output, what we will get? We will get 3 cross 3 as the output, because it is sliding for some 9 times, it is getting slided. So we will get 3 cross 3 as the output. Understood? So after this, after the output which we like, which is, you are seeing the screen, that yellow color output, if we again convolute with the 3 cross 3 kernel, we will get 1 pixel value as the output. Okay. So what receptive field? How receptive field comes in this place? So from the blue color image to the green yellow color image, we are using 3 cross 3 kernel, which means if you open any one pixel in that yellow color, it is the matrix multiplication of 9 pixels. Correct? So the receptive field is 3 cross 3 at this stage. From blue to yellow, the receptive field is 3 cross 3, which means each pixel in that yellow second thing has the ability to see 9 pixels from the input image. And then if you see the third image, which is in the again some green color, that that green color is the multiplication of the 9 pixel, but that 9 pixel is the multiplication of the input 25 pixels. Okay, input 25 pixels, we have got some 9 pixels, and from this 9 pixels we have got 1 pixel. So the final 1 pixel, which has the ability to see all the 25 pixels from the input image. So 25 is 5 cross 5. So the receptive field from yellow to green is the 5 cross 5. So that is what called as receptive field. So the first one line which I told, right, it is the eyes of the kernel, which means from first image to second yellow color image, the kernel, it is able to see 9 pixels at a point. From yellow to green, the kernel is able to see 25 pixel, which is 5 cross 5 at any moment. So that is what called as receptive field. So if you have an image which is of dog, so you have to convolve the image until the point the convolution is able to see entire part of the image. So for example, the dog is at the center of the image. When you convolve from the input image to the next point, the kernel will be able to see some small part of the image. Let's assume a kernel is seeing eyes of the image, eyes of the dog. From second to third convolution, the kernel is able to see both the eyes of the dog. Then from third to fourth, the kernel will be able to see the entire face of the dog. So is this just an example to convey that while convolving from one position to another position, we will get to, like, we will always get the image as the result. And when you continuously convolve, the receptive field of the neural network will get increased. At the one stage, if you completely convolve the image, the convolution neural networks will be able to see the entire part of the image. So that is what called as receptive field, and it is one of the very important concept in CNN. So the image also which represents same layer 1, it is extracting some gradients, all those colors or background selected, the layer 2 parts of objects and the layer 3 objects. So I will read out the text. So in high dimensional inputs, we are connecting each neuron to only a local region of the input volume. The spatial extent of this connectivity is a hyperparameter called the receptive field. So which is what I explained. The yellow pixel is the multiplication of input 9 pixels. So it is connected to that 9 pixel. That so the receptive field is 3 cross 3, which is what local receptive field is 3 cross 3. Global receptive field is like the, if you local receptive field is always 3 cross 3, because when you convolve from one image to another image, we are always using 3 cross 3 kernel. So the receptive field will also be 3 cross 3 at any point when we called local receptive field. But in the case of global receptive field, we have to cumulate how much the kernel has seen. So from blue to yellow, 3 cross 3. From yellow to green, again one 3 cross 3. So it will become 5 cross 5. 3 cross 3 plus 3 cross 3 will become 5 cross 5, because From blue to yellow, we see a reduction of 2 pixels from top and 2 pixels from down. And from yellow to green, we again see the reduction of 2 pixels from the top and the 2 pixels from the down. So what does it mean? The receptive field will increase by 2 in the x-axis and 2 in the y-axis. So that is all about the receptive field. So we will see the pictorial representation of the convolutional neural networks. So what you see in the input, so let's assume we are doing some number classifier. Given the input image, you have to classify whether it is 1 or 2 or 3 up to 10. Okay, so we have the input image which is of size 28 cross 28 cross 1. That 1 is the number of channels. Okay, so given the input image, we are using some 5 cross 5 kernel. So what that will do, it will convolve on top of the image and it will give the convoluted image as the output. So we are using some n1 channels. So that 5 cross 5, we have used n1 number of kernels. If we use n1 number of kernels, we will get n1 number of output. That is all. So one image, if you convolve one kernel, we will get one output. If you convolve with two kernels, we will get two outputs. In the same way, we convolved with n1 kernels, so we are getting n1 channels as the output. So 28 cross 28 into 1 became 24 cross 24 cross n1. That n1 is the number of channels we used to convolute the input image. The reduction, since we used 5 cross 5 kernel, there is a reduction of 4 pixels from the x-axis and the 4 pixels from the y-axis. That is why it became from 28 to 24. And then we are using something called max pooling. So far what we are doing, it's all learning. So whatever kernels which we used, it is learning the components from the image. It is learning the gradients, pixels, all those backgrounds, colors, edges, parts of objects, everything it is learning. But max pooling, it doesn't have any learning. It will just pick the maximum values and it will give. That is all. So if we have 24 cross 24, it will just give you the half of the output. So it will take the 2 cross 2 4 pixels and it will pick the maximum value. That is all. So it will see what is the maximum value of that 4 values and it will give you the output. So from this we will get from 24 cross 24, we will get 12 cross 12. Then again we are convoluting with some n2 number of channels. So if we convolve n2 number of channels, again there will be reduction of size and we will get that much number of images as the output. Again we are using convolution, max pooling, then the size will get reduced. And then there is a concept called flattening. So flattening in the sense, from the 2-dimensional we are converting into 1-dimensional, and then we are using some neural networks to like from n3 units to number. We are doing number classification from 1 to 10. So we have 10 categories. So we need to come up with the 10 numbers as the output. So we will using some uh, artificial neural network to like to do those from n3 units to the number of output which we are getting. So I guess it is little bit technical. We will see everything in depth in the upcoming videos. So this video is all about the overall concept of what is happening. So given the input image, there is a concept called convolution. We will convolve on top of the input image and we will get some output. There is a concept called max pooling, which is used to reduce the size, and from we will continue this process. There's a concept called convolution block and transition block. So from the input image, we have to make it smaller, and we have to commit to the point. Like if we are doing some 100 classification, 100 categories classification, you have to come to the point with 100 pixels. If you are doing some 10 categories classification, you have to come to the point with the 10 values. So that is all. The ReLU is the activation function which will allow only the positive values. So please comment below whether I need to go in depth with this convolution concepts and all those activations and max pooling everything. So this video is for the giving the brief introduction. So that is what I explained. Max pooling is for like picking the maximum values. Again, we have in the same way like how we have 3 cross 3 convolution, we have something called as 1 cross 1 convolution. And then in the last, I have told there is a activation function which is called ReLU, rectified linear activation function, which allows only positive value. So these are the things which we will use when we convert one input image. Okay. So activation functions are it's an important concept, because only if we have activation function we will get some non-linearity in the neural network. So if we don't have any activation function, all the values will get passed to the next successive neural networks, and we don't have any non-linearity nature in the convolutional neural network. So and then we have, this is all about the convolution, and we have something called as dilated convolution also, which is again, so given the input image, the kernel is again the 3 cross 3, but in a way that instead of convolving on top of all the pixels at the same point, it will leave pixels horizontally and vertically, and then it will convolve. It is just to reduce the cost, so that you can reduce the parameter also, you can convolve it in a very faster way. That is what called as dilated convolution. And then we have something called as deconvolution. Deconvolution is to like increasing the pixels from till now what we have seen, we have the image with a bigger size and we will convolve and we will make it smaller. But in the case of deconvolution, from the small image which has less number of pixels, we will convolve it and then we'll make it big. So it is named as deconvolution. But what we will do, we will do again convolution, but in a reverse way. We will take the smaller image and we will convolve and we will make it big. This is mainly used in, if you see YouTube videos also, and if you want to increase the resolution of the image, we can use the concept of deconvolution and increase the together pixels and increase the resolution. So I guess so it is more into technical. So you just understand the flow, what is convolutional and how it is happening. In the next upcoming videos, after we finish the machine learning concepts, we will again come to this and we will see the in-depth concepts of convolution. And then we have this big giant back propagation. So in all machine learning algorithms, we need to back propagate so that our weights are learning better, so that we can generalize on the new unseen data. So but what is a back propagation? So it is mainly dependent on the two things, which is cost function and the optimizer. So cost function or loss function, we can use what does it generally means? It's like it will tell you the error at that particular point. So suppose if you are doing some basic machine learning algorithm, like regression problem, let's assume, and if you're doing some house price prediction, and if the price of the house is 50,000 and if you are predicting 40,000, the error is 10,000. So that is what this cost function will do at that particular moment. What is the total error of your entire network? So any machine learning or deep learning model intention is to reduce this cost function. So how to reduce this cost function? We have something called as optimizer, where we can use gradient descent or stochastic gradient descent or Adam gradient descent, Adam optimizer, to reduce the loss value. So how, for doing this, we will derive the cost function with the parameters and we will multiply with the learning rate, and then we will come up, like subtract it with the previous theta values, and then we'll come up with the new parameters, new weights. So that is what this gradient descent will do. So we have the concept called as learning rate, which is again to which is a tweaking parameter which we can tweak to get a better model and to do the super convergence also. So we will see the implementation of what we have seen so far in the like with using Keras. So for example, the input shape which you are seeing the screen right now is, let's assume it is 28 cross 28, and what we are using in the first step, we are using sequential model from Keras, and then like convolution 2D with the 32. 32 is the total number of kernels. Kernel size is 3 cross 3. So input image we are convolving with 3 cross 3 kernel, and total number of kernels is 32. So we will get some values. So the output, let's assume it will be from 28 to it will become 26 cross 26 cross 32. 32 is because of the total number of kernels which we have used. Then we are using the concept called as batch normalization. This is for normalizing the kernel values. Like how we have normalization for the input image, we can also do the batch normalization for the kernels which we are using in the image. This is to avoid, like for example, an image can be taken in the good sunlight, and the image can be taken in a bad sunlight. To avoid this problem, to have a kernel which has the capability to classify both the image with different sunlights, we need to normalize it. So that is what batch normalization all about. Then we are again using some convolution, and in this time we are using 1 cross 1 convolution. So the previous output is 26 cross 26 cross 32, and then it will become 26 cross 26 cross 10, because this 1 cross 1 convolution is convolved on top of the input image. And since we are using 10 1 cross 1 convolutions, the output will become 10. So it will become 26 cross 26 cross 10. And then we are using ReLU, which is the activation function. In a similar way, in the next 3 lines, we are again repeating the same concept. So it will become from 26 to 26 cross 10 to 24 cross 24 cross 32, and then batch, and then 24 cross 24 cross 10, and then pool it. Max polling will reduce the size into half. So 12 cross 12 cross 10, and then 12 cross 12 cross 32, and then 10 cross 10 cross 32, then 10 cross 10 cross 10, and then again convolution 8 cross 8 cross 32, and then 8 cross 8 cross 10, and then max pooling. So 4 cross 4 cross 10, and then again convolution. So 2 cross 2 cross 32, then 2 cross 2 cross 10, and then again convolution. So 1 cross 1 into 10. So since we are doing 10 category classification, we'll get 1 cross 1 cross into 10. So we accordingly machine will learn what category it is telling, and accordingly it will back propagate and it will penalize. So this is the coding representation of the convolution neural networks. And then we have in the computer vision, we have other things called as detection as well as recognition problem also. So in case of classification, we will just classify the category of the image. But in the case of detection, we have to tell where the particular object available in that image. So to do this, starting from the like in the first, we will start with something called as region proportional, which like clubs the same region and it will try to predict the objects. Then we use something called as SST like approach, single shot detector, like where fixed bounding boxes will be used. But the main thing which we are using right now is the YOLO, you only look once. So I will give the little idea about the YOLO. So to do this detection, if you can go to like any surveillance or any detection problem which you are seeing, they might have used this YOLO algorithm to detect the objects in the given image. But how does it works? So what we will do, any deep learning engineer has to sit and draw the bounding box. Bounding box, nothing but a box which you can see on the left screen above on top of sheep, right? So that is what called as bounding box. So the any machine learning engineer, suppose if you have like 50,000 images, he has to draw the bounding box on top of all those 50,000 images. That is the first step we have to do. So if you are doing some camera detection, let's assume, so you have to take 50,000 images with the camera and you have to draw bounding box on top of those 50,000 images, and then we will feed it to the YOLO algorithm. Then it will do some k-means clustering, and it will come up with top 5 templates which we called as anchor boxes. So out of those 50 bounding boxes which you have drawn, it will pick the like common 5 templates, and it will try to have that in the story. So once we give any new input image, it will do the classification, and it will try to figure out which one of those 5 anchor boxes fits those object, and it will try to like extend it to fit the right position in that image. So it is the like one liner of the YOLO object detection. We will see more about this in a separate video for YOLO object detection. And these are the very cool concepts for computer vision. For example, we have image casting, we have the image and the respective caption for the image also. So in this way, when any new image comes, the machine will try to tell you what is happening on the image. And image segmentation, that like kind of detection, we can, instead of only detecting, we can also segment it. For example, in the previous slide which you see, in the left slide, you can see classification plus localization. It will tell you what is there in the image. It is sheep and where it is there. In the object detection, it will tell you there are 3 shapes are available, and it will draw the bounding box on top of it. But in the case of segmentation, it will even draw the different like representation for each shape available in them. Even if if it belongs to the same category, it will still distinguish. But in the case of object detection, it will only say whether it is sheep or a dog or camel. But in the case of segmentation, it will go in depth, and it will also say there are 2 sheep and different sheep and 2 camel. Everything it will go and categorize it. It will give the different shades to different sheep. So some style transfer is from like transferring, like adding some like styles to the input image, so that is called as style transfer. So yeah, so this is all about the computer vision here. So I guess I didn't go in depth, but you got the idea of computer vision, right? There is a concept called convolution. There is a concept called max pooling. There is a concept called learning rate, which is used to tweak the parameter, like increase the uh, capacity of a neural network to converge it faster. So these are the basic components, or the brief introduction about the convolutional neural networks. So I hope to, like, we will again maybe in the next video we will see the brief introduction about natural language processing, and then we will start with Python and the all machine learning algorithms. So thank you so much, everyone, and have a nice day.